gloomy day outside and I have already filmed this video. However, my computer didn't want me to upload it. So we're gonna refilm it. And I got a new camera, so hopefully that helps the situation. So, yeah. Today, I'm going to be talking about my Q3 review. So basically July, August, September, the books that I read, which I was in kind of a slump then, so I didn't really read that much. And as it is the first week of fall, officially, well, not really officially, technically it was in September, but for me officially, I thought what better time to do it than now, on a gloomy fall day with my cup of tea. Cheers. This is sleepy time tea because I'm exhausted. And I didn't sleep at all last night, so after I film this, we're done. So first up for our quarter review, we have July. In July, I read 4 books, which I think this was the beginning of my slump because most of the books that I read were less than 150 pages, and but 2 of them were graphic novels. So I wasn't motivated in July, and you know, the last couple of months I've just been in my post-grad rut, so to speak, and it's been difficult transitioning, I'm not gonna lie. It's been difficult transitioning from always being around my friends, staying in the same place, being independent, to coming back home and finding a job and being an adult. So July was a very big transitioning period for me. I had quit my job, got a new job, I started talking to someone, and it was just a lot going on in July. So I didn't read as much as I could have, but that's okay. Honestly, the last 3 months I've been just vibing. Like, it hasn't been any pressure to read. So, yeah. First things first, let's start with terms and conditions, because we all know how I felt about the fine print, okay? I hated that book. I did not like it, which I don't know if I really talked about it in that video, but if you don't want a spoiler, I hated the main character, Rowan. Not only because he was just a dick that never really had any character growth until the last 50 pages, but the whole catfishing trope is not my jam. And to begin with, I wasn't really aware that it was a catfishing trope. So when it happened, I was like, But my friends made me continue reading, and then they made me read Terms and Conditions. Loved Terms and Conditions, okay? I gave it a 4-star. Amazing book. We love Black love. Like, Iris is my girl. Iris is that girl. So if you're a Black girly and you like reading books about Black girlies and Black girl joy, read Terms and Conditions, because that man fell hard. He fell first and fell hard, okay? It had everything, okay? It had work relationship, marriage of convenience, okay? Boss assistant, Mr. Moneybags. What else do you want me to say? It was good, okay? It was good. The second book I read was Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. Every single time I say her name wrong. I gave this book a 4.5 star. I really enjoyed myself. Actually, I put it there for a reason. I enjoyed myself so much with this book, okay? I did it I read it physically and with an audiobook. So this was the week that I had started a new job, and they were like, yeah, you can just listen to whatever while you're doing the work. Like, it's okay. And so I just listened to all 33 hours of Outlander. Well, not all of them, but I skipped around. And then I just read the last 50 pages. Oh, wow. This book was really good. This book was really good. And I don't take reading a 600-page book lightly. I read this fine. Like, this was fine. Mainly because I used the audiobook to help me stay on track. I do think that I missed a lot of things in it. But other than that, I didn't have a problem reading this. And so I got... Where is it? I got the second book. It's much smaller, which I know that bothers some people, but it doesn't bother me. How many pages is this? Ooh, that's intense. Okay. Is this... It's 947 pages. Who's gonna tell me? Because, like, I know it's a different size, but damn. I wonder how many pages this size has. Probably like 600 as well. But I plan on reading that probably in December so that I can get the vibes of it being winter to spring, you know? But yeah, loved Outlander. I didn't want it to stop. And I also started watching the show again, which I had started watching it a couple years ago, but I decided I wanted to read the books first. So I stopped at the end of season 1, so obviously I knew how this one ended, and just picked back up afterwards. The third book I read was Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, and I gave that a 3-star, not necessarily because I didn't like it, but it was one of the first graphic novels that I've ever read, and it kind of didn't do anything for me. Like, I enjoyed the art in it. It was beautiful. It was creepy, which I really love. But it didn't really do anything for me, you know? It was just kind of like, oh, these are stories with beautiful paintings. Yeah, that's really all I can say about that book. A synopsis of it, it is essentially... It's like 4 or 5 different folktales written by the author. I think they're originals from the author. And they're like short horror stories. My favorite one was called A Lady's Hands Are Cold. Which was like a haunted house ex-wife theme. Like, I don't know. It reminded me of Mexican Gothic, which the plot lines are nothing at all alike. It just had the same themes. I don't really want to spoil it for anybody who might want to read it. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. It didn't do much for me, but I did enjoy the artwork. And the last book I read in July was Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe. I didn't rate this book on a star system because it feels weird to me to rate somebody's life story out of 5 stars, you know what I mean? But I did really enjoy this book. It helped me see a lot of things that I didn't understand before about, you know, living outside of the binary and, you know, coming to your own identity in that way, and kind of this story of self-discovery. It was very new for me, and I really appreciate this author putting out such a raw story about air life. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. I loved it. Listen. August, we had a bit of a dry spell in August, okay? See, See, in August, I only read 2 books. Mostly because my friend, he had me reading Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and it pushed me into such a slump. Like, I don't even feel like I'm being dramatic. It put me in a slump because I was just not enjoying it, but I felt this obligation to read it, finish it, and like it, but I didn't. Like, that's just not my vibe. I'd rather DNF a book than push myself to finish it, because then I won't enjoy it and then I'll resent the book. So I was really just in this slump, and I had just made this new friend, and I was like, oh, I can't read this book. I can't read this book. It wasn't like the writing was bad. It wasn't my vibe. I did not enjoy it. So I only read 2 other books outside of Mistborn in August. And that was Hide by Kirsten White. And what was the other book? And The Princess Bride. Both of them I read as audiobooks. And with Hide, I gave her 4 stars. She was great. Loved it until the end. I was left a little unsatisfied. Hide is essentially a horror thriller novel based around mythology, but it centers around 14 characters, and they are in a competition to win $250,000. But they're essentially playing a game of hide and seek at an amusement park, at an abandoned amusement park. So the main character is named Mac. She comes from this horrific past, and she's just trying to win this money so that she can get by and stay hidden. And then the other characters, they kind of stem from Mac's story. It's not necessarily like end all be all Mac's perspective, but I did really enjoy it. I felt like there could have been more diversity in it, but I get why there wasn't. But yeah, it was a very intriguing book, and I definitely did not see where it was headed, even though I wish it had more clarity later in the book, if that makes sense. I don't know. If you want to read it, I suggest reading it. The next book I read was The Princess Bride. I read it as an audiobook. It only took me a couple hours to read, and it was exactly as I expected it to be, but I had technically never read it, so if you've seen the movie, you've basically read the book. Yeah, that's it. 3 stars. September. I read 4 whopping books. Now, this was the month that I finally DNF'd Mistborn, because oh my god, it shouldn't take you 3 months to read 11 chapters, you know? And it took me 3 months to get 180 pages into that book, and it was overwhelming me, so I finally DNF'd it. So after that, I read 4 other books. I read A Raisin in the Sun, which I really loved. Loved as in academically loved it. Personally, if I had never read it before, I don't feel like I would have been missing out on anything. But it was on my classics to read. If you saw that video, if you didn't, go back and click on it. But yeah, it was in my classics to read. And yeah, it was pretty self-explanatory. It's about this family, and they're waiting on an insurance check from the death of the father figure. They're all speculating on what they should be doing with the money, and it's basically each of them wants the money to go to a different dream, but they can never really decide on which dream it should go towards. So this book was based off of a poem by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load? Or does it explode? So that's what this was based off of. Yeah. If you've read this before, let me know how you felt about the characters, because I felt like the only character I really had a problem with was Walter, and I think that was the point. But it was also in the way that he reminded me of my father. And I have unresolved daddy issues, and I just, like, didn't need that when I was reading this. So, yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, it was a simple read. I did enjoy the theme of, like, the race play in it, and how, you know, they wanted to move to a white neighborhood, but it was very clear that the white people didn't want them there. And in the politest way possible, they were like, hey, what if we just bought out the house and paid extra so that you could move to a black neighborhood? Instead of, you know, killing them, like every other neighborhood was doing, because they're nice white people. I also enjoyed the theme of the dynamic between black men and black women, and just like how subtle but so obvious it was. She did write it very well. I really enjoyed that theme as well. And then the last theme that I noticed was the class dynamic, which I feel like there's always going to be a conversation of class, race, and gender whenever it comes to black classics, especially written by women. So yeah, I think those were pretty big discussions that were very nuanced. Okay. That were very nuanced, and I enjoyed it a lot. But I did give it like 3 stars, mainly because it was like, okay, it's just like, it's a play. It's a play. It did get me to thinking though, and that's mostly why I enjoyed it. Talia, you can't keep getting away with this, okay? I'm telling you, you can't keep getting away with this. I read The Roommate Risk. 5 stars. 5 stars. It was simply delicious. Okay? Delicious. Raoul, love him. Jasmine, love her. Okay? So here, boom. Okay? Boom. Here we go. Here's the story. Jasmine and Raoul meet in college, in the library, and then they go back to her dorm and do the hanky-panky, right? He's like, I think I'm in love with this girl. And she's like, hey, we can either be friends or we can fuck, but we can't do both. And Raoul's like, okay, I guess we'll just be friends, right? My camera cut out at this part, but essentially Jasmine's flat gets flooded 7 years later, and so she has to go live with someone while her room is getting fixed, and so Raoul offers to have her stay, but she's like, I couldn't do that. Raoul is like, babe, stay until your apartment is fixed. Like, I have an extra bedroom, it's fine, whatever. And so she moves in. And there's tension, there's chemistry, because Talia knows how to write the thickest sexual tension, okay? delicious. I ate up every single second of this book. I think I read it in like 3 days flat, and that's with like working and reading it on my break and everything. Like, oh my goodness, this woman knows how to write a spicy scene. Okay. Delicious. I gave it literally 5 stars without even finishing it, because I already knew that she was going to be great at her job and write what needed to be wrote. Okay. And she didn't disappoint. She never does. Okay. Now, if you like He Falls Fast, or He Falls First and Harder, if you like Friends to Lovers, if you like Friends to Fuck Buddies to Lovers, if you like slow burn romance, it's not like, it's slow burn romance, but it's not slow burn erotic, you know? I would recommend this book. Because this one was spicy. It was spicier than The Princess Trap. And, I'm just saying. It was good. It was good. It was good. 5 out of 5. Would recommend. Definitely go read it right now. Okay. The next book was a book that I started reading in June, and then I DNF'd it because I couldn't do it. And then my friend was like, listen to it. And I was like, okay. And I had gotten it through Libby and yada yada yada. I read Icebreaker. And I liked it. I loved it. Is that crazy? I loved it. Yeah. So shout out to Maddie for recommending it to me. Loved it. Listen, Hannah Grace, she knows how to write a spicy book. Okay? And Nate Hawkins is dirty. Okay? He has a filthy mouth. That one has a filthy mouth on him. Okay? I was like, ooh, girl. Woo chile. Whew. But yeah, I gave it a 4.5 stars. Would I read the next book? Yes, absolutely. And I think it just came out last week, so hopefully I get it for Christmas, even though I didn't ask for it. I say read it. So technically I finished this book on October 1st, but I was already halfway through it by September 30th, so I counted it. And whew, boy howdy, was it good. Okay? Boy howdy, was it good. I don't know why I just turned into a cowgirl at heart. Anyway, Praise by Sarah Kate. You heard me. Praise by Sarah Kate. She's been given a 4-star. Okay? That shit was delicious. Okay? And I should bump it up to a 4.5, but those last couple chapters had me, you know, it really, sorry to say, but, the last few chapters really just, it didn't feel realistic at all, and it felt like, I'm not saying that the writing was bad, it was just so unrealistic that it took me out of it, and I was like, okay, if they were not rich people, this would be like white trash TV. Like, it'd be like the most made up scenarios put on MTV. It was pretty bad. It was a bad ending. Did I still enjoy the book? Yeah. Do I pretend like the ending, like, do I pretend it didn't happen? Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay. But do I recommend that you read it for the spice? Abso-freaking-lutely, I do. Yeah. Because the spice is going to win out every single time. Okay? Every single time. So that was the last book that I read, and I'm currently reading, where is it? Where did I put it? I'm currently reading episode 13 by Craig DeLuey and The Merciless. So hopefully those go well. I think I'm going to talk about those in my next video. But other than that, thank you so much for watching my quarter 3 review. And let me know your favorite book from the last 3 months, because honestly, it's a toss-up between The Roommate Risk and Terms and Conditions for me. Even though I gave Terms and Conditions a lower star, I still enjoyed it immensely. So, I don't know, I think it was The Roommate Risk. But this is where I sign off. I will leave you guys to it. You have a great rest of your week, and I'm gonna go to sleep because I'm really tired. Yeah, love you guys. Bye.